Hi, how you doing? Uh, my name's Shannon. I'm back. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've gone and fucked things up, just like I always do. It's been a while. Anyway, hey, hi, ho, and howdy, everybody. My name is Shannon Shook. As I've just stated, it has been a little while. I've been gone for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. For so many reasons, and by that I mean really just one. I mentioned it a couple times before I headed out on Thursday that I was going to be out of town for the next week or so because I was going out of town, out of state, out of country. I was on a boat for about a week and a half, and I had a great time. It was great. I got to go with my family. Got to go out and go on a cruise through the Caribbean. My mom is that's something my mom had wanted to do for years, since I was like, what? I don't know why I'm asking you. You wouldn't know. Since I was like, somewhere between 5 to 10. Something she's always wanted to do is take me and my brother and go out on a whether it be a cruise or just a vacation to somewhere like Hawaii or something like that. That kind of thing. That's something that she always wanted to do, and we just never got around to it for so many reasons. One, we're fucking poor schlubs, and that's just not something you can do all the time. So we didn't. But this year was kind of an interesting thing. Because we didn't. Well, what am I trying to say? This year was interesting because there's two main reasons which kind of led us to be like, okay, well, this is just a year, we should do it. And by that I mean this was a series of things that led my mother and grandmother to make the decision to do that. I had nothing to do with this shit, but I did get dragged into it, and it turned out to be really fun. So I'm not complaining by any means. But there's two big things that happened. Number one, and I should probably mention that, hey, it's fucking Thoughts from a Strange Mind for the first time in like 3 or 4 years. It has been an absurd amount of time. I'm gonna look it up right now. When was the last fucking episode that came out? I know I mentioned this on Twitter a little while back, but I actually recorded episode, I think, is this going to be 16? I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I have to find my internet real quick. But I recorded one more episode that never ended up getting released of Thoughts from a Strange Mind. It was, and the reason it never got released was because I had recorded it just after my uncle passed away. I'm so sorry. And a lot of that episode ended up talking about the death of my uncle, and a lot of things got super personal, and it started infringing on the privacy of other people in my family, and I just didn't really want that. Generally speaking, I don't like talking too much about anything personal with my family, because I don't know, I feel like a schmuck if I do that. I feel like I'm a real schmuck, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things where I had wanted to put out the episode because I felt there was a good message to it, because in the end it was about, don't do shit that's going to completely ruin your life. But in the end I felt like it was just not a good idea because of all of the different reasons. What was the last episode that came out? Here, I'm on the thing. Was the last one that came out a Yup with Braden? Yup. I think it was. It was 2 years ago. I don't know the exact number of years, or of like months and whatnot. But it's been over 2 years since the last time I did any of this. I'm an old man now. I have like children. I'm working at a Fortune 500 company. Is that a thing? Is Fortune 500? I don't know if that's actually a thing or not. That just sounds familiar, so I said it. I'd also like to apologize real quick. I am sick. I came back from this cruise, and number one, I got a cold like a motherfucker. My voice was completely destroyed very early on into the trip because a lot of singing and dancing was done. The dancing destroyed my legs completely, and for the last day or so, I almost could not walk at all. It was so bad, and the only way I can describe my loss of voice, I sounded a pitch perfect impression of Steve-O anytime I talked. Just to give an example of how fucked up my voice was. And it's still a little off right now, but that's also partially because I have a cold, I'm sure. Yeah. So I'm a little off. That's also kind of the reason why it's taken me a little while since I've gotten back to even start recording anything. But hopefully we'll be back to the tippity top here shortly. Anyway, so yeah, did I get everything out of the way real quickly there? New episode of TFSM which is really cool. I don't know if anyone will watch it at all, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I've been saying for months now that I wanted to bring it back. I just never had anything to talk about. And I mean, like, fuck it, I just got off a cruise, so why not? That's reason to talk about something. So yeah, new episode of TFSM, that's cool. I'm sick and dying, all that cool stuff we've discussed. So I guess the only thing else to talk about now would be back to what I was talking about, which is the reason for me going on the cruise. There's two big reasons. Number one, this year has been kind of a year of milestones when it comes to things like birthdays and the like in my family. For example, I turned 21 this year, earlier in October, so all of the booze was and that's not true. I drank a little bit. I really didn't drink that much. Can we talk about what is up with apparently rum drinks being all of the best drinks? I'm sorry. Well, like, what is that about? It's true though, right? You got your pina coladas, you got your pina colada. Anyway, moving on to something of semi-importance. Anyway, I turned 21 this year, so that was kind of a thing. My brother turns 18 and turned 18 the day after we got back. So that's cool. Little Braden, he's still a person, a thing. I'd love to have him on again at some point, especially since those are always the episodes everyone watches because everyone loves Braden, and I ain't gonna shit about Shannon. But anyway, yeah. It was Braden's birthday. Turned 18 this year. I turned 21. My mother turned 40, and my grandmother turned 60. So everybody, yeah, it was a series of birthday milestones. So that was one of the big reasons. It was like, let's get together and celebrate since everyone's kind of got an interesting, semi-cool, important birthday this year. And then there was the other reason. Shortly before I stopped doing the podcast, one of the more recent episodes of it, or one of the last episodes of it, actually talked a little bit about my grandmother, as I mentioned before, her earlier, having her 60th birthday. It mentioned how she had been going through medical stuff. Cancer's a bitch. We don't like her or him or they. We're progressive here. It's 2017. I don't know what cancer identifies as. I also don't give a fuck because fuck that thing. But not sexually, because that would be kind. Unless it wasn't, unless they weren't into, it's a very difficult, you never know what someone's going to be into. They might just be a freak. You don't know. And cancer's a freak. We know that it is because it's the worst, you know? Anyway, as I mentioned, my grandmother was having her battle with cancer, and of course she's now pulled through. I'm sure there's still... It's difficult to ever say if you've ever 100% beat that kind of thing, because it's some bullshit. But that was another one of the big reasons we wanted to take this trip, was to kind of celebrate getting past all that as well, because cannot stress this one enough. Fuck you, cancer. A bitch. Anyway, so those were kind of the two big reasons we ended up doing this whole thing. My mother had been on a cruise once before in her life, so she was kind of our guide through it all, even though she freaked out half the time through everything. And it's okay. So this is the weirdest thing. If anyone's kept up with me with my other videos on whether it be on the Shannon shmuck channel, the one that you're currently on at this moment, or if you have moved on and started following me on Double Hit at all, I don't know who I'm talking about. Ain't nobody who watched the original 14-some episodes of the podcast is watching any of this. They don't even know I exist. They never knew I existed in the first place. Anyway, but whether or not you've kept up to date, or if you're coming from one of those channels, or one of those channels to the other channel to hear, or whatever the case may be, whether you're, or if you're just here because of the voice acting thing, which I want to give a huge shout out to. That both, number one, the people who do come over here because of the voice acting and subscribe. I don't know why you subscribe. I don't ever put anything up on this channel except for this thing that I'm putting up here now. I'm trying to decide exactly how I want to do that. I don't know if I want to put this up just on Shannon shmuck, or if I want to also put it up on Double Hit, or if I want to just put it up on Double. I don't know. Give me opinions if you care. Anyway. Again, I don't know why anyone subscribes to this fucking channel. I don't ever put anything up on this channel. But thank you for the people who do. And for the people who enjoy what little voice acting things that I do. Which I guess that's stuff I could probably talk about on this podcast as well, because all of that shit has happened after I gave up on the podcast like a fucking douche. Anyway, fuck me, I've completely forgotten where I was. I have no idea. It's gone completely. Okay, there, I got it back. Fuck. This is why I stopped doing a podcast, because I get just completely lost and then have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a rambling, mumbly mess. But if anyone's kept up with me either on this channel or on Double Hit, they will know that I am a paranoid fucking wreck. I freak out about everything. I'm a whiny baby. Everything that could go wrong is immediately what I assume will go wrong. Why? I couldn't possibly tell you why. But it was the weirdest thing, because my brother, he's always been pretty good, because my brother is fucking terrifying, especially when he was younger, because he used to have severe anger issues, but he's gotten a lot better as time goes on. But he's just an intimidating motherfucker, because again, he only just turned 18 now, but motherfucker could kick most anyone I know's ass. And he wouldn't even have to, he'd just look at him wrong and they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll leave this room. Bitch, I'm gonna go get a taco, because I ain't fucking with that guy. So he's never been one to be super scared of anything like that. So he never really had too much of a problem while we were out in the locations that we visited. We visited the lovely El Roatan in Honduras, and we visited Belize, and by visited Belize, I meant we went to an island that was almost had nothing to do with Belize, because we're a bunch of fucking schmucks. And we went to Cozumel, Mexico. So again, we went to little islands off of the coast of all these other places. But I mean, we did technically go there. So yeah, my brother has never been a big scared kind of guy, because I know he could at least do some. If we're in a bad position, I know that motherfucker would go from push to shove to drop kick a bitch out a window if he had to. And while I'm not a fighter by any means, I'm literally a fucking pacifist. I'm a pussy fest, a combination of the two. I was surprisingly not the scared one at any point in there. I should say there's not any point. Fucking New Orleans. Holy shit. Y'all need to calm down. I'm serious. Like, number one, I can respect partying and being crazy and awesome and cool, and that's fine. But Jesus, I live in Montana. We don't do anything here. It is absurd how chill Montana is, and not just because of the cold, in comparison to any of the other places I went to. It is ridiculous that nothing happens here. It's just, everyone's like, well, I guess I'll drive down to the Starbucks today and I'll go pick up a latte, and then I'll go to work and I'll go home. There'll be maybe a couple other people on the road. Everyone will just kind of be like, yeah, we live in Montana. We're here. It's all right then. And then everyone goes home and then masturbates and then goes to sleep like normal people. And I look at everywhere else in the world and fucking New Orleans and shit, and I'm like, motherfucker, you need to call. What has happened? Do you ever fucking sleep? Do you people ever just relax? Do you ever just sit down and go like, it's a Tuesday? No, you're like, no, it's motherfucking Tuesday. And then you're like slamming on shit and driving around and horses on the fucking street, and everyone's like fucking freaking out all the time. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But I am way too fucking fat, lazy, and slow for any of this shit, so y'all need to calm down. People were very nice, though. I will say that. Through all the places we visited, people were absurdly nice, especially when you came to things like asking directions. We must ask directions from at least 40 to 50 different people throughout our time going around all the different locations, and everyone was super nice. And recommendations for food and all these kind of things. You're like, what's good here? What's this? What's that? And everyone's like, oh yeah, this and this and this, and here you can go down that way and over here and up that. And with the food, it's very subjective. It's personal. It's cool. Whatever you think. I like that. We got a really good restaurant recommendation while we were in New Orleans. I love that. I think it was Oceana was the place we went to. It was great. It was really enjoyable. The thing that I got was tasty, but holy fucking shit, whatever was on the special, I've already forgotten, but it was fucking fantastic. But yeah, everyone was super kind and nice and sharing all that stuff and giving directions and all that. And while I will say this, you guys are so nice and you're kind, you're welcoming, you're like, yeah, let's fucking have a good time, and welcome to New Orleans, welcome to New Orleans, motherfucker. And welcome to all these different places, and everyone's kind and all that. Can we talk about how no one in any place that we visited had any idea what the fuck they were talking about when they came to directions? Like, sir, can you tell us where this is? Sure, that way. Points in the exact opposite direction. We can be standing in front of the building we're looking for, and they will point, about 3 miles down that way. No shit. I'm gonna have to take your word for it, buddy, but you know what? I'm just in case you're wrong, I'm gonna ask about 20 other people. And I know that they're going to be wrong too. But at least I can say that everyone tried. It was ridiculous. Well, how do I get to our hotel? Oh, well, you go down that block like three blocks, and you go that way, and you take a left, and you go up, and you go back 17 blocks, and you go up and down and left and right and who and ha and has the... And like, again, we could be standing a block away from our hotel, and we would have no idea, because that motherfucker gave us directions. Again, very kind. I appreciate it, but what the fuck? You people live here. Okay, moving on. But anyway, like I was saying, back to the other thing. And it was saying, like, I'm usually such a scared, whiny baby. I was really surprised how chill and cool I was with everything. 'Cause again, I'm inherently a paranoid weirdo, and I don't know whether it's just I I have just a more open mind to things, and because that is one thing that I'll notice about like a lot of the people I'm with sometimes is they have an inherently kind of closed off mind, and everything that they don't understand is scary to them. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times my mother or my grandmother went, "Oh, something terrible is about to happen," and I'm just like, I just ordered a banana soda and I'm having a good time. I don't know what's like. I might not like trust the water, maybe, or I might like maybe we don't go down this road, or maybe we don't do. But even then, I'm like, well, I mean, it's just like anywhere else. Everywhere's got weird people. Everywhere's got uncomfortable locations. Even Montana. I fucking live in a weird, uncomfortable Montana place. But you know what? It's okay. Because we probably won't die. We might, who knows, you never know. But we probably won't die. And that's what matters. Let's just have fun, enjoy the food, and check this out, and what's that, and who... And especially since when I didn't really want to go anyway, because I don't give a shit about, like, looking at all these things. Oh, and these are the great and mighty ruins of... I don't really give a fuck. I'm like, I know that sounds incredibly insensitive. I just like don't. That doesn't interest me at all. There's very few locations that do have really cool historical stuff that I really would like to see. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, Greece has always fascinated me, and I'd always love to see Greece and all the crazy cool shit, and like Athens and all that kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking dope. But generally speaking, I don't give a fuck about ancient shit that people built, as I'm like, I don't know why, but it doesn't really... I used to when I was a lot younger, and I still love history itself. I love learning about history and reading about it and all that kind of shit, but just... It's just a building, dude. I don't know what you... I've seen a building before, but there were a lot of cool things to see. And honestly, one of the biggest things was, specifically was in Honduras, because... at our 3 stops, Honduras, Cozumel, and Belize. The first was Honduras, and we stopped there. And the thing was, we had booked our excursions, our little things to do. We had booked them outside of the cruise line and stuff like that, so we didn't have like, oh, just get on the bus from the boat and then we take this down here with everybody else. No, we went off and like booked this other thing with this other tour thing, so we had to walk all the way over here and end up here and then get taxied around by some dude we had no idea. It was like another one of those things where my grandmother and mother, of course, are just assuming the worst. Like, oh, this guy's gonna like, I don't know, he's gonna take us some horrible place and leave us there with his goons and stuff. And I'm like, I think Hank was cool. I mean, like, he was just like, hey, you want to go look at some monkeys? And I was like, capuchin monkeys? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, those are great. They're adorable. And then we went and saw the monkeys and shit. And he was a real cool guy. So I want to kind of do my best to give shout outs to everybody who did us super well on our trip. And there's one of them, our driver Hank in Honduras. You rock, buddy. You'll never see this, but you were cool, man. I'm sorry that we fucking booked it the second we stopped. You dropped us off at the pier. Everybody was my mother and grandmother were freaking the fuck out about bugs and shit. And I was just like, okay. Also, I left my fucking dragon fruit in your car. I'm so sorry. They were interesting. But there was that guy. And again, it was one of those things where it didn't bother me nearly as much as it bothered everyone else. But the really cool thing about that, because that one we had done that way, like I said, it was booked. We basically had a taxi driver ferry us around all over the place. And it was really cool because he was really interested in showing us stuff. And that was one thing that I really enjoyed, was being able to get shown actual stuff. Because that's the thing, is when you're a tourist and stuff, you usually fall in the mindset of one of two, I'd say probably two major mindsets. And that is, oh, I want everything to just be comfortable and resorty and chill and simple, which I completely understand. And most of the rest of the time, I was very much 100% of that mindset. But for that specific one, I was very much of the mindset of, I just want to see things. I want to see what does the place actually look like. we're getting driven around through these places which weren't in the greatest condition. There was lots of construction. There's just places that weren't well maintained, and I'm sure there's people who living in relative poverty or things like that. And of course, my grandmother and mother are like freaking, oh, I don't like being. The whole time I'm just like, this is really interesting to me. I think this is something very, but not cool, because that sounds inherently wrong, especially when you like, oh, look at the poor people. No, when I see that, I'm like, that's interesting to see how other people live in certain locations in the world, because you have different classes of people everywhere. And I thought it was a really interesting thing, and it was something I enjoyed a lot of that specific thing. And again, it should have bothered me, but it really didn't. It was one of the things that I actually really dug. And I always wonder if it's something like a Henry Rollins mindset of, I just want to go out and fucking see shit and show me the real, man. Show me how it really do. And maybe that's kind of where that comes from, is listening to people like that who just want to go out and explore and learn shit and see how people are. And I think that was something I really enjoyed. Again, when it came to other things like Belize and Cozumel, when it was Belize, we did do the just like, oh, we're just gonna get on a boat or straight off of our boat, fly over to this little island over here, and then just chill there for a couple hours. I'm gonna lay in a hammock and read fucking Spice and Wolf. I'm on book 3, about a quarter of the way. I'm getting there very, very slowly. I will finish this book series at some point. And I'm loving it. I bought a fucking little holo fucking adorable chibi thing yesterday. And it's so fucking cute, and I want it. And I'm going to put it up with all my other stuff. I had this plans to go and buy a bunch of other cool stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to buy all these little nice important things that I could actually really use and make use of on Amazon. Or like, I get all these little things that are very important. And then I saw that, and I'm like, fuck. She's too goddamn adorable. Get your wise wolf ass over here on my shelf. So I immediately bought that and made stupid customer purchase decisions, because I'm Shannon. But anyway, so yeah, that was for me in Belize. And then when it came to Cozumel, we landed on the place and then just walked down the road for a couple. And that became, again, directions. Nobody had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. They were all kind of in the ballpark. And this is definitely the biggest direction thing I have to talk about, was we were in Cozumel, and we're on the pier, and we're like, okay, so we got to go north from here. We got to get to the submarine place. So because while we were there, we were going to take a little submarine, go down, check out the reef and whatnot, and all that cool stuff. And there was a sunken ship, and there's sharks and stingrays and all this cool stuff. There's absurd schools of fish. Which is weird, because you never, like, whenever you see a movie and stuff, I never think of a school of fish as just kind of sitting around sometimes. But I guess that would make sense, is sometimes they're just going to sit around and chill. Like 700 fish just sitting there and just going like, it's a Tuesday. Anyway, so it's that kind of thing. But so we needed to find out which way north was, and we're all stupid, so we didn't know. So we're like, okay, so we got to figure out which way we got to go. So we're asking one of the tour guys for something else, and we're like, where's north? And he's like, it's down that way to the right. And we're like, awesome. So we followed that down that way, which was correct. That is where north was. For some reason, everyone else decided, oh, we need to continue asking which direction northwest. That was the weirdest thing, is we got to the end of the pier and it wasn't there. So we're like, okay, obviously we need to get past this area. We need to go off somewhere and do some stuff. And of course, this led to bickering and fighting between everybody. But of course, then my mother goes off to ask us and goes, oh, which way is north? Like, we knew which way north was. Why would you ask? Ask where the building that we have to go to is. North. We know where north is. Okay. So anyway, we're going over there, and she goes and asks more people where north is. And of course, we know where north is. And so did this one guy. But his friend didn't, because him and his friend immediately pointed in opposite directions, in which their arms crossed like a giant X, going like, no, someone's wrong here. And he's like, north is that way. And the other one's like, north is that way. Completely opposite directions of each other. And it's probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, because, of course, they're both looking at each other like, motherfucker, are you retarded? And there's like, are you... hey man, are you retarded? Cause you're looking pretty retarded. So they're really like, and then apparently for the next, after they leave, they're bitching and complaining and moaning at each other because they're like, motherfucker, no, that is north. Like, no, that one's north. So they're over there fighting like that. I don't know why we even did this because now we ruined someone else's day. Because now those two have to continue fighting about which direction north is when we just needed to ask where the fucking building was. Anyway, directions, crazy. Don't get me wrong, if someone asks directions in Montana, where I am, my response would be, I don't fucking know, because I don't go anywhere. I need water. I'm so fucking dehydrated. Anyway. Pardon. For a moment. Delicious. Not really. It tastes like water. Water doesn't really... It doesn't taste any... that much. It tastes like water. Anyway, point is, so yeah, that was our thing in Cosmo, was we just ended up walking down there. So again, that was that same kind of very simplistic, I just want things to be simple kind of mindset. And I was really glad that I had it for Honduras. I wish I had had it more for everything else as well. But Belize, I wanted just kind of nothing to do with. I was like, we were going to originally do something way crazy. And then everyone else, half of the group, me and Braden, were both like, nah, I really don't want to do that. And then, yeah, it all went funky. And then we ended up just relaxing, and I read a book in a hammock, and Holo was adorable. I cannot stress to you enough how much Spice and Wolf is a good show, and it's a good series, but you check that out. It's great. It's lovely. I love it. Anyway. So, you know, that... And then, again, it's the weirdest thing is I always expected that I was going to be the scaredy one, and I wasn't through all of that. And it made me... And there's other things like on the ship... even then people were weird and like uncomfortable about it. I'm like, oh, come on, what is going to happen on here? Unless we get assaulted by pirates, we're gonna be fine. Like, I mean, it's about as safe as you could probably be chilling there on that boat with all those people. And I got to meet some incredibly cool people. And it comes back to that list of people I'd like to thank. Just a lot of people who were really cool and extended their friendship to me, and people who took care of us, whether it was just all the awesome service staff who cooked our meals and took care of our rooms and folded us little towel animal things. We had an elephant. His name was Stuffy, or Stuffo. It was one of those two. I accidentally tore his head off. I felt really bad about that. Then we had a bear, and his name was Bernard, and he was Bernard the Cycloptic bear, because I accidentally knocked his head off as well, and his eye fell out, and I couldn't get it back on again, so I decided I'd tear out his other eye and put it in the middle of his head, and then he became a Cyclops bear. So, Bernard the Cycloptic bear, and we had a good time with all that. I think they had a weird bunny man as well. Like, it was weird, because I think it was supposed to be a bunny. But it ended up looking more like the bunny suit from fucking Donnie Darko, more than anything. It was haunting, really. But yeah, no, it was weird. I'm not used to being the chill one, or the one who's very comfortable. I'm incredibly uncomfortable around people, but I had a great time there. There was tons of music and the food and all that stuff. I want to give a huge shout out, number one, again, to all the service stuff. I couldn't get everyone's names, obviously, but all the people who took care of us. I want to give shout outs to the entertainers who were on board the ship. There was a good few in particular who I grew to enjoy quite a lot. There was this gentleman named Lawrence who used to play. I say used to play, who would play just solo guitar music, just hanging out and chilling, and just really cool. It seemed like a really good dude, just a real chill dude. And then there was other people like, there was two bands in particular. There was a band called Down to Funk, who is fucking phenomenal. It's just this really dope-ass fucking band. And they had a group called the Heinous Horns who would join them, and it was these three people with, horns, and they all joined up together sometimes and would play just great versions of just songs of all decades and popularity levels and whatnot, and it was really, really enjoyable, and that helped destroy my legs quite a bit. And then there was a band at the piano bar. I have to say, the first night, which was the night that completely destroyed my voice, I stayed at the piano bar until it ended up closing, and it was an incredibly fun experience. There's something incredibly enjoyable about just sitting around with about 20 to 30 people and just singing stupid songs while most people are drunk and or drinking, because that just means everyone's having a good time. And it was incredibly enjoyable. It was one of the best experiences I've had in years. It was definitely one of the best experiences I had on that cruise. And I can say the same for, again, the other two bands, Down to Funk, as I mentioned, and there's this other acoustic band. It was, I believe they were a couple. What are their names? There was I think it was Janelle and Alex. It was this acoustic band. It was just the two of them together, and they were fantastic. They were incredibly enjoyable, really dope. Again, really dope, chill people. And those are the two groups that I would dance to and sing along with constantly, and are 100% responsible for me destroying my entire legs and not being able to basically walk for the entire last 2 days that I was away from home. So both fuck you people, and thank you so much, because you guys were incredibly fantastic. Again, they'll never hear this, but I feel inherently like I have to say thank you because we were treated incredibly well. And that's the thing with that kind of thing is I'm a schlub. I shouldn't have been able to go on that kind of a vacation or trip and be treated that well. I don't deserve that kind of thing. And I'm incredibly thankful for everyone who helped out and for who acted as a friend to me. I met so many really cool people. I met Josh and the two Jessicas who were fucking weird and awesome. And there was Sarah, who was this cool drunk kid who was a little, I say kid, but they were older than I am. And her mother, and then there was this little adorable little kid who I think was one of the Jess's kids named Lucas, and he was dope. And I was a robot, and he had this laser pointer, and we had this epic battle, and he ended up burning a hole in my brain, and it was crazy, and it was awesome. And then he exploded the laser, and then Josh had to fix it. It was cool. And then there was and then there was more people in that group that helped that I never got the name of, and I'm so mad that I didn't. I even saw a couple of them on our way off the ship, and I, for whatever reason, didn't say it. But there was these very, very cool older ladies who were very kind, and I owe a lot to them, because I was off dancing in the corner next to the coffee bar while Down to Funk was playing or whatever. And then eventually after a while, they saw me over there, and they just dragged me down there and like, come on, man, come dance with the rest of us on the dance floor. And it was great, and I ended up doing that, and I ended up making some cool friends out of it. And it's a shame I won't be able to see him probably ever again in my entire life. But I had a very, very good time, and I owe a lot of that very good time to those people who were kind and generous to drag me out in there. And the same thing with those same people dragged me off into this weird, crazy game show thing that they were doing, which I can't talk about because reasons. So if anyone asks, no one knows what I just did unless you were there. Also, I just really hurt my chest. But I don't even know if that came through on the mic. Probably didn't. Especially not because I got my fucking fan in the back. I hit my chest twice and then did a thing. Anyway, point is, I owe them because they all dragged me off and did cool stuff, and I had a very, very good time, and I owe a lot of that to their generosity. I want to thank other people who were there. Again, there was the service staff, and then there was special service staff with things like they had an art gallery on the ship, which was really cool because I'm a quote unquote artist. I have barely done any art in the past few years, but when I was a lot younger, I used to love doing art, and I still love art. I feel like I've gotten so bad at it I don't even want to try anymore. But I got around to doing that, and They had a scavenger hunt thing, and I got to meet this incredibly cool person named, I think it was Boyana. I'm pretty sure she was somewhat Eastern European, just really cool, taller lady, very thick accent. She was very cool and very kind to put up with my incredible fucking stupidity during the whole thing, and it was really, really cool. She was very kind. And there was the other people there. I believe Alan was the gentleman who was running the whole thing, and I got to go to an auction. I got to have free champagne, which was fucking disgusting. Okay, so real quickly, I'm gonna divert. Dear anyone on this earth who ever drinks champagne for any reason other than that you are fucking weird and that you really like the taste of carbonated dog piss, you need to stop. I don't care if you're doing it because you think it makes you look fancy or what. You need to stop. Just don't do it. It's gross. It's disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're like, but I just happen to love it. And I'm like, I don't care. Because when you do that, it makes people think that it's cool, and it's not. It's peer pressure, and you're dragging them down a dark path. It's fucking gross. Because it tastes like wine. And wine is fucking gross. As long as you're not cooking with it. If you're cooking with it, yes, use wine all the time. Cooking with wine is fucking fantastic. Cooking with any alcohol is amazing. But champagne and wine are fucking gross. What is wrong with you people? I know that I said that I would never be that judgy asshole that I used to be in high school, but I have to draw a line here. It's gross. I'm just kidding. You can love whatever you want. I'm just saying I personally think it's fucking disgusting. Anyway, point is, went and did that. I got a really cool free painting. It was awesome. It was great. And I got to meet these very cool people. Again, I have to give thanks to them, to Boyana and Alan and the other dude who was a guy and was like, do you want to keep trying to guess the price of the painting? I can't remember what his name was, but he was cool. There's some other people. Again, I wanted to give a shout out to all the people who helped ferry us around, the people who ferried us to and fro and back and forth with the submarine, and our driver in Honduras, Hank, and a shout out to the fucking airport in Bozeman, Montana, because part of me wants to go, fuck you, because holy shit, that was a crazy day. And a part of me wants to go, you guys tried your damnedest. You tried so fucking hard. When we left, the day we left to go to the airport, which was going to be the day after that we'd actually fly out, Montana decided, I'm just going to drown the entire earth in snow. Like 2 to 2.5 feet of snow everywhere. Like, when we woke up the next morning, we literally had to dig the car out and pry the doors of the car open because they were frozen shut. And so we were late to the airport. We also got stuck behind somebody in the airport who was having card troubles or like credit card issues or something. And then that put us back even farther behind. And then the people at the airport mislabeled all the luggage. And then we ended up getting to the place and getting the thing. And then apparently me and Braden's tickets didn't go through or something. So we had to spend the next 15 minutes in there before anyone could even get on the friggin' plane, trying to go like, what the hell is going on? Can we not fly? What's happening? What's this? We ended up having to steal 2 other people's seats. One person who was a standby, which I guess is okay. I don't know how that works. I don't fly. And the other person whose seat I ended up taking apparently didn't show up or something, so I ended up in first class. But it wasn't really even first class because it was a tiny airplane, so barely. I didn't even know how to recline the chair. I got some Doritos. That was really nice. But then again, we got on the plane. Then we were stuck there for 2.5 hours while they de-iced the plane. We missed the next flight, and then we had to completely rechange the flight. And then we ended up flying to Denver, and then we got to Denver, and then we had to fly to New Orleans, and we got to New Orleans, and then we were there, and then we got to get a driver who also I need to give a shout out to. I don't think I actually got his name, but I remember his service was Smitty's little driver service thing. If you ever see that man, tell him I said he's a cool dude. But oh, that was a fucking nightmare. So much crazy shit. We had to de-ice the plane. We were stuck there for 2.5 hours in Bozeman. It was ridiculous. Montana was like, "Don't go. Stay with me. Caress my tender mountains." Oh God, that makes me feel dirty. But we've eventually finally got it, and then we got to talk about coming back. Okay, so I have to talk about New Orleans Airport. You were very kind to us when we left the airport, when we got there, because you didn't have to do anything. That being said, I tried to get on the fucking airplane. What the fuck, New Orleans? And more specifically, what the fuck, New Orleans security? Like, okay, when I get in line, I understand that I'm sure you understand that you have a lot of people here who don't fly often. I'm dumb. I don't fly ever. So I accidentally get in the wrong line. Understandable. If that's okay, I get to the thing and he's like, "Oh man, you're in the wrong line." He said it a little shittier than that, but he was you're in the wrong line. So you gotta go down that way. And I'm like, okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. So I walk down over the area, and then I get to this other thing, and this other girl looks at me and goes like, "What the fuck are you doing over here?" And I'm like, why the fuck would you walk over here? And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, he literally just told me to come over here. So don't get shitty with me because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing and because I'm following your own goddamn directions. So then she's like, "Oh, well, fuck you. You have to get in the back of the line over here, go over and do this." And I'm like, okay, you could say it without being a cock. So then I get all the way over to the back and the thing. And it occurs to me at this point that the 3 people I'm traveling with didn't get sent over to where I was. I'm sitting over there going like, okay, so I guess when's my mom and my grandmother and Braden gonna show up? And then they don't, because that motherfucker who told me to go to the other end of the goddamn thing and get bitched at by the other person told them to just walk. We have the same fucking tickets. We have the same thing. So they go through. I'm at the other end of the fucking thing again. So I have to go through all of the line again. I get to the end of the line next, we get all the way up to the front of the line again. She fucking closes her thing. I go back to the fucking thing. I have to go back to the same fucking thing that I just got yelled at for going to because I didn't know what I was doing. I had to go back to the fucking place where I got told I was in the wrong line and then get sent through security, at which everyone's being a dick because they're like, "Okay, you got to get this and this and this and get out of your shit and do this and motherfucker." And I'm like, okay. I was in Bozeman a week ago, and you know what their response was when I walked up and said, "Okay, so what do I need to take out?" They're like, "Okay, man, so you got to take out this, put the computer on here. You got anything else in their bag?" And I'm like, "Okay, anything else in here?" "Oh, well, that thing would probably work too." "Oh, so man, I can do that." And everything, put the stuff in there, got through security, everything. "Oh, this was nice. Look, I'm just here. I made it through, got all my stuff, put everything back in my bag, and I was ready to get on that plane." Fucking New Orleans. Okay. Again, I can't blame everybody, and I'm sure I'm going to sound like an uppity dick, but what the fucking shit? Because then I'm in the fucking thing, and now I'm in security, everyone's bitching at me like, okay, and everyone else is already like, "We've already gone through security. I'm over here, sitting over here waiting for you," and like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, I'm still trying to get through this fucking thing, so I'm like, okay, what do I get to take out? What? So you got to take out this, and you also need to do this, and I'm like, okay, I didn't need to do that over there, so now I need to do that here, okay? So now I have to try and meander all these buckets and shit, and I gotta pull this out and that out, and I gotta make sure ain't nothing in the pockets, so I gotta cram that in places, and I gotta take off the hat, and I gotta do all this, get over the thing, and you get over there, and they're like, "Oh, motherfucker, don't you do it?" Okay, I'm like, okay, I don't, you need to tell me what I need to do, so that you don't have to fucking yell at me 5 seconds later. So then I get all the shit on the goddamn conveyor belt, and I'm over there to the fucking thing, and I get over to the scanny Madoo, and I'm over like, okay, we're good, we're fine, I just gotta get through the scanny thing, and we're golden. I get to the fucking scanning thing and immediately like, "Oh, this one's broken, so you have to go all the way around it." Like, you motherfucker. So I get over to the other thing, finally get through all that, grab the shit. I have to wait for 8 fucking people who are ahead of me in line to get all their shit. Then I have to grab all my shit, carry it all the way, everything, drop shit all over the fucking place, probably breaking all my fucking things. And then I finally get over to the goddamn changey thing where you're like, okay, you can put your shoes on, put your shit back in your bags and whatnot. So I finally get over there, and then I'm like, and of course everyone, my mom and my family and whatnot, they're all like, hey, what the fuck was that about? And I'm like, motherfucker, I don't know what it was about, but I'm a little upset now. So anyway, and then I get everything put away, and they're like, okay, so what? Well, they're talking about security and them going through, and apparently half of my fucking group didn't even have to listen to the fucking thing. Like, oh, you know those shoes that everyone has to take off and all this shit, and you have to do this with the things? Oh, you don't have to do that. Everybody else has to, but you two don't. I wanted to just... I cannot stress to you how fucking upset I was for the next like half an hour. It's like, it's madness. I understand if you have to have security stuff, if you got to do it, I understand that. I get it. You're worried about things going wrong. But number one, don't be a piece of shit about it. Number two, at least make sure everyone has to follow all of the fucking rules. God damn it. That is my rant about my time in the airport in New Orleans. To Nolans. Motherfucking shit. Anyway, so that was my time in the airport. We finally got home, and I went and stayed with my grandparents for one night, and then came back, and I finally came home. And I've been here, and I needed a day or two to recover. I'm going to plug in my headphones because they're beeping at me. And we're almost done here. No, I think we are done here. Because if I stay here any longer, I'm going to get real fucking upset. Anyway. So the crew... So I had a couple downsides. I'd say I had 3 moments in particular that were pretty shit. That was by far the least worrying of all of my issues. Was that, but it was still so fucking infuriating. Was the two instances at the airport, and there was 2 other things, but I don't really want to talk about those. One, because it's incredibly personal, and the other, well, actually, they're both incredibly personal. But one paints me in a really, really terrible light, and the other one paints me as a fucking idiot. So we're just not going to talk about those. Other than that, though, I had an incredibly good time. I really enjoyed myself, and I cannot express to everyone enough how thankful I am for everything that they did, for giving us free, incredibly great food, and for ferrying us around all this, and doing everything they can to have us have a good time. 2 other people I wanted to shout out. Actually, 3. We'll throw 3 people in particular, and that would be my cruise director, Chris Williams. This is Chris, your cruise director here. My favorite Scottish person ever, except for my other favorite Scottish person ever. Shout outs to you, best friend. Yay! He was my favorite on the cruise. He's just such a lovable Scotsman. Scotsmith. Fuck. Anyway, so yeah, it was Chris, the cruise director. There was Mike and Eve, who helped run a lot of the shit over there, who did a lot of the like trivia and did all this stuff. I also won a game of trivia, and I got a little trophy thing. But I actually got a lot of cool collectibles and stuff. I bought 5 shot glasses to add to my collection, because I do collect shot glasses from the places I've gone, or for the only one that I haven't actually gone to the place that I actually have a shot glass from is Las Vegas. My mom picked that up for me and brought it when she went. But I collect those, and I have that little trophy that I was talking about. I have a painting that I got in Honduras. It's a little canvas painting. It was really cool. I also realized I bought cocadas while in Honduras, and then I didn't eat them, and I left them in the fridge in the cruise ship. Oh, that's a waste of my money, and especially since those were the ones I was most excited to eat. Yeah, so I got a good few collectibles there. But yeah, no, so they ran that, and I also have to double down with the thing to them. And I also have to give a shout out to our Captain Carlo, who got us around places and gave us updates and stuff in his incredibly sensual Italian voice. I think he was Italian. I'm going to assume he was Italian, considering he kept talking about his sign-off was that in Italia they say arrivederci, ciao, I just say ciao. I'm assuming that that's meant he was Italian. He sounded Italianish. Anyway, point is, I want to give a shout out to all of them. I had a great time. And there's something I would like to say is, if to anyone out there who ever wants to do that and can do that kind of thing, obviously it's not the cheapest thing in the world. Though the cruise was surprisingly cheap in comparison to things like the air travel to get there. So, yeah, the cruise wasn't nearly as bad as the fucking, the tickets for the plane, which fucked us. But I would have to say that I highly recommend, if you ever get a chance to do that kind of thing, that you do it, because it's incredibly good experience, especially if you ever do. And that, I'd say this goes with vacationing anywhere. Do your best to get out there, to meet people and have experiences with them and make friends and comrades in arms and whatnot. I would have had an okay time there if I hadn't met all those friends and amazing staff there. But meeting those people and them dragging me around, whether it was just to dance and sing along to stuff or to go do that game show thing, which is basically Fight Club. In that we don't talk about it, not like nobody punched a baby, probably. There was things like that, or even to a nightclub, which was fucking... Okay, so one last thing I have to rant about. Dear people, you children, you little childrens and whatnot, please go dance with people. Yes, do that. I had a good time, but I would have had more good times if I had danced with more people. That being said, you running up on a man or a woman or whatever, in my case a man, you running all up on me and attempting to grind all over me does not appeal to me in any way. And when I go, no, please don't, over and over again, and I keep backing away from you, that means no. That means stop it. I understand that you're trying to have a good time, but I am too. And my good time involves you not fucking doing that. I appreciate it, but fuck off. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, that person. Jesus Christ. It wasn't Jesus who did it. I'm sure he's down and funky with it, but I feel like it's just not his kind of thing, you know? I mean, like, I feel like he would have been in my case, been like, hey, please fucking don't. Please just back the fuck up. I mean, let me rephrase that. Do not back the fuck up. Instead, go away the opposite direction. The opposite of backing up. Go full forward into the future and away from my dick. That's what Jesus sounds like, right? Anyway, point is, I had a very good time, and I'm very happy to be back home. I made it through the entire trip without getting sick at all, except for the very last day. The last day was really choppy, and I had just gorged myself on so much food and drinks that I felt fucking miserable that last night. I felt so fucking bad about it, because again, on those things, you have what is effectively free food, because you paid for it all in advance. So you can just kind of get whatever you want. And they have these big dining halls. You can order whatever you want. They got all these really great things. I got to try fucking escargot while I was on there, and it was fucking delicious. Snails should never taste that fucking good. I acknowledge that it was probably just because they were buried in nothing but butter, but it was fucking delicious. I kind of wish I had but I wish I had just gotten a second order. But they had all this stuff, and I felt really bad because, again, it's free food, and you can get a fuck ton of it and be a total pig. But literally last night I ordered a decent amount of food because I hadn't really felt super bad when I first sat down, but it started to get really worse during dinner. I made it like a quarter of the way through the amount of food that I ordered, and I ended up having to leave. And I know that I wasted so much really, really good food. And I felt fucking horrible. Because number one, it's free fucking food. I didn't fucking pay. If I paid for it, I'm still going to feel bad that I didn't eat it, but at least I fucking paid for it. If it's free food, I just feel miserable because I'm like, okay, so these people went out of their way to make all this fucking phenomenal free food for me. And then after I ordered a fuck ton of it, I left like 70% of it just sitting there, thrown away. And it was great food, and I wanted to eat more of it, but I absolutely couldn't, or I would have literally just vomited all over the place. Thank God they're so kind and understanding there. I'm sure in the background they're like, this fucking piece of shit. But they were very kind to me when I said, like, oh, I'm going to fucking vomit all over the goddamn place. I'm so sorry, but I can't be here anymore. But they were very kind and even tried to do what they could to help ease my stomach and whatnot, so I appreciate that. But, again, I cannot stress to you enough. If you ever get the chance, I highly recommend it. It's the same thing. Even if you never leave the ship is such a fucking enjoyable place. As long as you got the right people and as you got the right entertainment and stuff, I would gladly do a cruising in and literally just never leave the ship just because it's such an enjoyable environment to be in. And I had a great fucking time, and I owe that 100% to the people who I shared that with, my family, and just the people who were incredibly kind to a goofy stranger. So, my nose, I'm going to sneeze. So, thank you to all those people, again, who will never ever see this, but I felt like I needed to say it. And I want to say also thank you to everyone who joined me here today for episode number 50. I swear to God, computer, if you don't stop going to screensaver, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined me on this next episode of Thoughts from a Strange Mind. It has been quite a while since I've done one, as I said before, but I'm really happy to be doing them again. I don't know how often it's going to be, but I guess whenever I just have something to talk about. I'd like to do another one again just to get everyone up to date with everything that I've done, because, again, it's been 2 years. I'm still a fucking total loser. So, not too much has changed there. But I like to think that I'm getting a bit better. And I'm incredibly proud of what very small progress I've managed to make here on YouTube and with my voice acting and with all the things that I do. And I'm incredibly thankful for everyone who helps facilitate that. So if you're ever a part of that, and hell, if you're watching this right now, if you've made it this far, then you are more than a fucking part of it. You're a goddamn champion. So yeah, I intend to get back to making videos on the reg as quickly as I can. I'm gonna try and get Moemon back started up again here pretty soon. I know that's been a little while since it's actually started back up. I'd like to start Katawa Shoujo back up again. Maybe some extra little games here and there. I also picked up another game, which is a visual novel, I've picked up quite a few visual novels. But one that I've heard a lot about recently, which I don't want anyone to spoil anything about it, other than I've already gone a teeny bit, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's called, is Doki-Doki Literature Club, I think is what it is. The only thing that I know about it is it's got cute anime ladies, and for some reason, in the tags or whatever, it is classified as a psychological horror, which it does not give off that impression at all, which makes me very intrigued and makes me think I want to save it a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. I'm intrigued. So yeah, no, I'll do what I can to try and get some more stuff. Also, with things that I've missed while on the trip, the Ruby review cap, obviously. I think for episodes 3 and 4, I'm not gonna do an actual Ruby review cap for. I'm gonna just do a podcast. For those, I'm gonna do a review cap cast. Just because I feel like that is let's look forward a bit. I think I feel like I should be able to get episode 5, but episode 3 and 4 I'm a little behind on. Then of course there's Pokemon, which I think I'll do a smaller video on, just talking about Rainbow Rocket and whatnot. And then I think I'm gonna just completely avoid everything pertaining to Pokemon until after I've beaten Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because Apparently the game has been leaked officially completely, and I've already gotten one little thing spoiled for me, and I'm like, motherfucker, don't put it in the fucking thumbnail of your fucking video when the game isn't even out yet. Fucking stop it. I don't care if you think it doesn't. Shut the fuck up. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little upset because I didn't want that to be shown to me. Anyway, I'm scared. I feel like when those games come out, I'm just gonna avoid everything on the planet for a little while. Hopefully I'll have those here soon so I can actually get started on them. But yeah, again, so I'll do what I can to try and get caught up on the things that I've missed out on. Again, thank you all so much for watching this episode of TFSM. It's been a while. And it's good to be back. Now, I'm gonna go lay down because my voice and everything else about me hurts so bad. It's not even funny. Toodles, doodles, and lemons. Bye-bye. It actually kind of brings me to another topic. There was one other character I played quite a bit of in the short time I played playthrough, and that was Proto. I think that was her name, right? Fuck. Well, that's a problem. As if they're both named Proto. Oh my god. Definitely can't have her show up